Now to nuclear power in this country. We have 104 nuclear power plants, and believe it or not, some were built along seismic fault lines. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission has now identified 27 plants that might need to upgrade earthquake safeguards. My next guest says that if the U.S. were to see a catastrophe on the magnitude of what we're witnessing in Japan, there is no clear plan in place to deal with it. No plan, folks. Congressman Ed Markey of Massachusetts is calling for a moratorium on the building of new nuclear power plants along fault lines. Sounds like a no-brainer, doesn't it? But nothing in Washington is ever a no-brainer. He joins us tonight from our Washington bureau. Welcome, Congressman Markey.
Good evening, Elliot. Thank you for having me on.
Well, it is a pleasure. So first, I just got to ask you a question. What do you think the NRC has to do to ensure the safety of the public here in the United States?
I think, number one, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission should ensure that potassium iodide is distributed within a 20-mile radius, not a 10-mile radius, around nuclear power plants to protect against thyroid cancer, especially in children. I had a law that I'm the author of that passed in 2002. The Bush administration has only authorized out to 10 miles. I think 20 miles clearly is a safer distance, and that is what my law called for. Number two, I would have a complete review of all nuclear power plants that are in earthquake zones to make sure that they have the proper safety protections, especially for cooling the plant in the event of an adverse event. Number three, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission right now is in the process of approving a Westinghouse AP1000 reactor that one of the highest-ranking Nuclear Regulatory Commission scientists has said is, in fact, so vulnerable that it could shatter like a glass cup under stress. They should review that process as well.
How about nuclear power plants in non-seismic areas with older proven technology? Do you feel that in that area we can still use nukes as part of our energy portfolio going forward?
I think that is going to be determined by Wall Street and by the nuclear utility industry. There has not been a new nuclear power plant successfully ordered in the United States in 36 years. And the reason is that after 3 Mile Island and after Chernobyl, Wall Street just walked away. What is happening right now is that Wall Street and the nuclear utility industry is saying that we will not build any new nuclear power plants unless there is a loan guarantee program from the American taxpayer. That is, that the American taxpayer becomes liable in the event that something goes wrong. As a result, natural gas, wind, solar, biomass, geothermal, other renewable energy resources will be looked upon much more favorably in the future than they have been in the past because of this incident in Japan.
Well, Congressman, you and I are singing off the same page here. I've always been saying Wall Street wants us to take the downside risk and they'll keep the upside. That is exactly what they're trying to do on nuclear power. So you're saying over the next 13 years, other substitutes are going to come online that make this nuclear power unnecessary. Is that basically what you're arguing?
That is correct. There has not been a new 1,000 megawatt plant that has come on for an energy generation. Wind and solar is being now deployed in massive numbers. And even if it moves at a relatively slow pace, there will be 100 times more renewables that come online in 10 to 13 years than any nuclear power which is added to the grid and used for electrical supply within our country. So it's basically a question of economics. Nuclear power may have met its maker in the marketplace over this past weekend, and even with federally guaranteed loans, I think it's going to be difficult to anticipate anything more than a handful of nuclear power plants being built in our country in the future.